everybody. Welcome to another Ignite Visibility University. I'm really excited because today we have Steve Zimmerman with us, who's founder and head engineer at Rocket Resume. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Before you got on, we were talking a little bit about the life of an entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how you ended up where you are.
Oh, it's a great question. For me, it's been a kind of a path of finding out myself, and I started in a completely different field where I was worked as a mechanical engineer in the Midwest, and then I've always been into software and computer science, and then eventually transitioned. I actually attended a boot camp class in the Bay Area, and that's what brought me out to Silicon Valley. And then I worked at several startups as a junior front end web developer. I got in early at a couple ones that were willing to give a lot of learning experience to somebody pretty junior, and I worked as hard as I could, and eventually, after about 5 years, decided to go off on my own and do my own project, and started from the scratch with just me and my computer, and grew the business that way. And so it's been an amazing journey, and excited to where we are now and the future to come.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get excited about learning technology, learning development, and then maybe starting their own platform like you did. But what's interesting to me is like you had to learn development skills, you had to learn entrepreneurial, skills, you had to learn business skills, cash flows, balance sheets, marketing skills. I mean, do you think that is an approach that you would recommend to people to actually learn how to code themselves and start that way, or was that a tricky way to go about it?
Well, I think coding is extremely rewarding. I mean, uh, for me, when you're building something and you can see people use it and you can get that feedback really quickly on your product, its performance, and you can go make a change and you can do it immediately. I recommend. I mean, it's a great skill to have. Everyone wishes they had a little bit of that. Obviously, not it's not for everyone, but I highly recommend going into software, especially with the market the way it is now. The like my classmates at the boot camp class, there's people that would just with high school degrees or with no experience going into it, and they are now senior engineers. And so there's a lot of opportunity. If you're hungry for that, that's something that I find very rewarding. If you like learning and if you like being somewhat miserable trying to solve difficult problems, if you're okay with that, and it can be a rewarding field. And it's the thing I pride most about my current job is the overcoming adversity and challenges, and learning new things. And like I embrace, like you said, all the business, the cash flows, and all that stuff that some people might like more than me. But you got to take it and for what it is and go after it. And I really enjoy learning new things. And in this situation, I just kind of took what I could and ran with it.
I think that's one of the marks of somebody who I've seen does well in business. It takes so much time, effort, passion. You got to enjoy the journey. You got to enjoy the diversity. And so, talk to us a little bit about Rocket Resume. So you've been running that business for how long now? And then what's that journey kind of been like, and where are you at now?
So that's a great question. I think we would go back about 4 years is when I really started working on it full time. It's been an idea for maybe a couple years before that, and I, I mean, I wanted to help people get jobs. I know that it's an interesting space, and a lot of people don't think of this as like resume building as its own business, but it's a very huge space in employment industry, which is very huge financially, as also it pains everyone. And so one of the things that's always been a principle of mine is when building product is to be very user focused, and to fix a painful, difficult process. And so I worked at a company called BP that was a used car sales peer to peer, and like that, card transactions are extremely difficult. They're painful. There's paperwork, there's laws, there's taxes, and you have to deal with the used car salesman or blah 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 blah. And so with Rocket Resume, I saw something similar that I could solve on a pure tech perspective and use technology to scale the business. And I knew that I could provide a service for something for to help people that do something that is very difficult. And one of the things that's interesting is that building a resume is completely um, it's a different skill set than what you need to get the job.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are great at their job, but they might not be great at building a resume. And so what we've really tried to do is make that easy. We offer suggestions for nearly every job title out there, templates so you can click one button, you can swap out, and you can really scale your resume and you can duplicate it for multiple positions and et cetera. So what I found was that really being into helping people on a very difficult um, thing like building a resume and getting a job is something that everyone hates doing. If we can help, if we can help a little bit there, then I think we'll be successful. And so that's really been my mantra. How I got into Rocket Resume, and then I think the goal of Rocket Resume to date, and there's going to be much more things down the road because we're still a young company. In the last few years, as we've grown, um, I think there's a lot of opportunity to take it to the next level, and so we're excited about where we are.
I love that. So hard problem that you can solve with technology that can scale. What a great framework. What a great framework for everybody listening here. You know, what's a hard problem that's in demand? You can put technology to it and solve it, and then that's going to allow it to scale. I have a question for you. How many resumes have you seen at this point?
Oh, we're over 1 million resumes. I would say of at least resumes that have been started. There's it took a while to get to that level, but we're now moving pretty quickly. Yeah, so but I
So
would say
okay, so
roughly 1 million, just under, right at million.
you've seen a million resumes, and I think here's the $1 million question for the man who has seen around a million resumes. What goes into a good resume? There's a lot of people looking for jobs right now. What goes into a good resume, and like what don't people realize, like mistakes they're making too? Just talk to us about that a little bit.
So there's a lot of theory on this, and there's no straightforward question or answer to your question. But what goes into a good resume in general, I would say, is tailoring it to the job that you're trying to get. And so a lot of people just start with a resume from their perspective. What is me? Put me on a piece of paper. And I like to recommend, and I've seen success with this, is just focus on what's your goal and then work backwards to you. And instead of starting with I am this, it started like what does they want to see? This is A, B, and C. It also is really helpful is to look at a job description. If you're going for this job, take the job description. 20% of that job description could be in your resume, assuming it matches you. But that's a good place to start, at least. We also offer, if you're trying to get like a specific job, we have, like I said before, we have suggestions for many different job titles that allows people to quickly, with a click of a button, maybe you fill out a few things, you can get your resume pretty much complete on our website in 10 minutes. And so I would say start with what you're going after for one. Two, another thing is use words that are distinct. So like say, I helped raise $100, X dollars, and have that number be a specific number that when a recruiter's scanning, they're looking for things you've done that they can say is tangible, like it, like improved morale for a team. As a leader, like it's one thing versus like helped recruit 3 people and brought them up to speed. And like the three, that distinct number is observational. Like it's a very important metric that I like to encourage people to include on the resume.
It's really, really interesting. I know so many people are going to be interested in this conversation, and I'm just thinking about what you said, and I'm thinking about my personal experience, and I've managed or hired hundreds of people. Some of the things that always jumped out at me would be like you said, the personalization. A lot of people, they just spray resumes all over the place. There's no personalization for the position. If they would have taken 5 minutes and just thought about how their background actually applied to the role, and they would probably give themselves like an 80, 90% better chance making it to the next level. But a lot of people, they just, they're just shooting resumes all over the place. So I think you just that one tip alone, you're going to help a lot of people get jobs, for sure. So that personalization around a goal and the exact position. And then I absolutely love that idea. The exact number of people you've managed, the exact number of people you hired, the exact result that you've gotten, a case study around the specific job. That shows that forward thinking. Another thing that I see that's also kind of big is career history too. I feel like that can be a red flag if somebody has only been 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, a year, at a place. You can tell they jump around a lot. What are some other red flags that you've seen? Is there anything else that, like, in your resumes you're like, oh, that's a no, don't do that?
Yeah, that's a good point, and you got to think of your audience. I think a couple other red flags are, I mean, obviously the point you mentioned, gaps in your work history, but the things that are very obvious, like typos, grammar, making sure you're doing the minimum stuff. And we offer tools that help people like proofread and um, scan the resume, and so. Um, it's really about like making sure you know who your audience is, making sure that your audience is that hiring manager you're going to get in the door. Don't put something on there that's going to make it super easy for him to say nope, next one. Assume he's got a stack of thousands of resumes and he's just looking for excuses. He or she is looking for excuses to throw them out. And so it's important that uh you don't give them a reason to do that. And another thing I like to think is a lot of people want to put more stuff on there. Sometimes it's just highlighting the simple stuff and keeping it simple. Create it so that the reader is intrigued and wants to reach out to you. Leave some things off that maybe aren't as succinct and to the point. Also keep it to one page so that someone scanning this is going to be okay. Bum 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 bum. Here's the information. Check check check, and then we're going to reach out to you. And so resume gets you in the door, and then it's the hard part is having acing the interview. And so don't give them a reason to not let you in the door is kind of one way to think about it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Great advice. I mean, think of the difference if the first line is, say you're applying for a position in search engine optimization. I'll just talk about what I know, but say the first line is expert digital marketing enthusiast who has done email marketing for 4 years, and opposed to expert digital marketer, passionate about SEO, made quick transition, transition to SEO, been studying courses, night and day. It wouldn't be exactly like that, right? But just tailoring that beginning part, that makes all the difference. Showing you have some interest and you've thought about the company, that personalization is big. So you've had a ton of success. Your site, people love. You've got a lot of people using it now, and you also have gotten really good at marketing. Full disclosure, we've done some marketing work together. And let's not go into all the specifics because we don't want to give away any secrets or anything like that. But when you think about marketing from your perspective, like, what are you the most excited about in marketing? What have been some of the things that you have enjoyed doing and that have helped for your program?
Yeah, I mean, so we're in a very interesting, unique industry in terms of marketing as we're learning, and we're still always learning. One thing that has been a challenge is finding people when they're ready to build a resume. Now, building a resume, as you know, as everyone listening knows, is a very difficult task. Like it's stressful, it's anxiety around it. Like, what am I going to put here? What template do I pick? What's like as you know, all these aspects to building a resume can be challenging. And so, um, one of the things that's been really exciting is trying to capture the person when they're ready to build their resume. And
Yeah.
so, we've had a lot of success on that down funnel, like high search intent. Like when someone's looking, how do I build a resume? You provide tips on a landing page, and then you convert them. And you basically, so it's been really exciting tying our product to marketing. And so like where like the a lot of people will, like, at least in my experience, will separate the two, and they'll have, here's our marketing landing page and this is what marketing has to worry about, and then on the product we're going to have we'll worry about our product, and they're siloed a little bit. And so one of the things that's been really interesting is kind of meshing those two things together. We've done a lot of work around building different landing pages that are tailored to almost every search term out there. Um, and not just like changing out a header, but like actually like if someone's searching for templates, we're going to surface some templates up here, and we're going to potentially make offers or discounts, templates related, and then we're going to push them into the funnel, and they're going to go into this step. Everything's a little different, and so we've been working at collecting that data. Data collection is obviously really huge, and actually, as you reach scale, actually the data becomes more meaningful quicker, obviously. And so you get to learn quicker, which is also very exciting. And so capturing people at the right step, when they're ready to convert, also nurturing the people that aren't ready to convert, aren't ready to do it. And we're spending a lot of effort more up funnel now these days as we try to give suggestions, tips, and things that get people engaged and they're interested. And then when they're ready to purchase, we'll be there for them. We also offer a free trial, so everything on our website is free trial. So from a marketing perspective, what's really interesting is identify, like trying to evolve as we've gone up funnel, and not just the marketing, but also our product. Our product has to keep up with marketing and vice versa. And so it's been an exciting challenge, as something I'm learning new about every day as we go. And so yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I hope
Oh,
that.
it does, and I love the granularity of your approach, and I think you just gave a great lesson for all of our listeners. And it's just, making sure that your product shows up at the right time in the journey. That's such an important part of every business. I was talking to another business owner earlier today who had a much longer cycle. It's about a 3-month nurturing cycle. Yours is much more quick and immediate, and then you're aligning the landing pages and the ads, all around that. As we're thinking about marketing, what are some things that you would tell people who are looking to start a digital marketing program for the first time? Like, say you're talking to yourself like 2 years ago. What would you tell yourself starting a digital program for the first time? What would be some things to focus on and some tips for our listeners?
Yeah, so it's kind of unique to the business. I think what was really important for us before we could scale was identifying um, like lifetime value of a customer, and
Yeah.
how they interact, what makes them cancel, how can you give them what they're really looking for, what do they really want, and so all those things affect the lifetime value. And so getting a clear, distinct lifetime value, also getting capturing user behavior on your website, how they use the product when they download resumes, what templates do they like, what pages do they want to see, where do they spend the most time on, all these little things that tell a story. And so really capturing that data, and every marketer out there knows this, but then there's really the digesting of that, and after collecting it, that's very important. And so I would say, and it's really challenging, especially if you're a subscription-based service. Understanding the LTV of a customer is not easy, and you have to segment and understand that. And then when, for example, for us, like we are subscription-based, if a user chooses to not cancel, and then what they see, so that LTV, I mean, we have to be very confident in our calculations on LTV, because our day zero, we might be negative on acquiring a customer, but we know that over the long run, that their usage of the product, the services we offer, will be enough for that person to continue using our product. And so, to me, if I were to go back, I would make sure you find a segment that's profitable, capture that LTV, and then scale it up as much as you can. Um, Obviously, that's the challenge, and so making sure and you can trust that your customers are going to come back and use your product a certain way is very important. And so capturing that data, understanding LTV, understanding the user behavior, and creating an amazing experience is paramount to success. And so, and then also like great customer support. So the whole package kind of goes together. With It's not just marketing and send it to a landing page and then have a checkout page. There's more to it. And so, going back, I would recommend like really understanding your customers and how they use your website.
I love that. And I just feel like, you really tied a nice bow on it. And so many people get that wrong. So many people throw up the landing page and start doing the marketing, and they haven't thought about what are they going to do with the customer? How are they going to keep the customer? How are they going to make the customer happy? We're seeing this huge change now where value-based bidding's coming to Google and Facebook and YouTube. And, you were really ahead of that. And I think you had a big leg up because your engineering background. It's kind of hard to get that stuff set up if you're not techie, and a lot of people skip the steps. But Ignite Visibility listeners, if you have your data right, if you know the lifetime value, you're going to be in a much better position. So, Steve, in wrapping up today, where can people find out more about you, and what should they be looking at for future Rocket Resume?
Yeah, so if anyone is listening, wants to build a resume, you can go to rocketresume.com. We're giving a limited free promotion if they go to rocketresume.com/ignite. And you can poke around the website. I'm open to feedback. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks. You can reach us at support@Rocket Resume, or you can reach me personally, steve@rocketresume.com. And I will eventually get to people's responses. I love hearing from our customers and people marketing. And so there's always room to improve, and I love hearing from everyone. So look forward to that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephen. If anybody has a question about resumes, digital marketing, make sure to leave one in the comments, whether you're on YouTube or you're watching this on LinkedIn or you're watching on Facebook. Steve, thank you so much for sharing some of your journey and some tips with us today, and helping us all have better resumes as we go into the future. That's going to save a lot of people a lot of time, and hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you having me. Take care.